Hey, this is American Lawn Sale Fan. Haven't done a video in a little while, so thought I'd start with a particular subject, and that is this. For those of you married men out there, you know that your wives have what they call looking at towels, looking at soaps, you know, stuff that's in the bathroom that you don't use, you just sit there and looking at. Well, sometimes us guys have certain things that we only like to look at, including firearms. So this, for the most part, is a looking at gun. This is the Rock Island Armory, also known as the Armscor. So yeah, it's unloaded. This is their GI model in the 38 Super, fairly highly polished nickel plate. You can see that right there. In fact, you can kind of see the reflection right in the camera. Anyway, so I bought this pistol basically on a whim, impulse purchase. Don't need it. Never owned a 38 Super. So Rock Island Arms is, of course, the Filipino arms maker, and they make a number of 1911s, including their GI series, which is basically just as the name implies, just more of a very basic mil-spec style. And what was kind of neat is I had these 1911 grips kind of hanging around for a while, little snake grip. If you notice, it's also only on one side. These are matching, but the snake emblem is only on one side. So it's just kind of cool to have. Stick them right on there. It was much better than the plain wood grips that come standard. So out comes this pistol. Well, obviously, as I showed you in the quick footage, is I did take it to the range. This thing shoots amazingly straight. The only downside is, of course, yeah, we'll check it again, make sure it's not loaded. But you can see is it's got GI sights, and they're really, really small. Showing you the front sight. What is nice about GI sights is they're not as bad as you might think. What I found with the shooting it is when I focused on the 10 ring, I might sometimes mostly go off left, which probably meant is I was pushing it a little bit. It happens, and I couldn't tell from my position that I was probably pushing it. So I was shooting a little bit off left, and sometimes I'd overcompensate and it'd shoot right. But in terms of elevation, all my shots were coming very, very straight. They were at least going somewhere along the 10 ring, and that's from 50 feet. So not bad at all. This is more ideally close range, and you're probably going to use the Rex Applegate kind of point shoot where you're not really focusing on the front sight, you're just pointing it. And okay, if you get a little bit off, that means you're going to hit one lung versus the other, but you should still hit center mass, and you're not going to flip it off this way. Anyway, here's something else I'm going to talk about is you'll see a lot of YouTube videos saying that this is not the greatest nickel finish as compared to others. That might well be, but I'm also seeing a lot of YouTube videos on saying how hard it is to care for it. I don't think that's true at all. And so if you're going to care for a nickel-plated pistol, particularly the Rock Island Arms, you're going to need a couple of things. You're going to need, first off, besides your normal cleaning rags, is you're going to need a microfiber rag at some point. You're also going to have to take a very clean rag, like so. This particular one was made from an old white t-shirt I cut out. I made sure it was completely washed and washed again. And so this is specifically designed for this gun. I don't cross-contaminate it. So as opposed to, say, like this rag, which is nice and oily, you just rub it on your Glock or your Parkerized finished 1911. Last thing you're going to need is this stuff. You can substitute CLP instead, which works just as well, but I think this stuff works the greatest. So if you want to know how to care for nickel-plated pistols, this is what you need. Microfiber rag, a separate clean rag that you only use for your nickel-plated pistol, and Balisol.
And the first thing you'll notice is a lot of this is oil, but just my thumbprint right here. I mean, it's really easy to pick up a lot of that stuff just from holding it. And this has to do with the fact that your own hands, of course, have salt in it. And there's a couple of things. I mean, with untreated or real basic high carbon steel or something like that, the salt in your fingers can really essentially corrode over time your steel. Stainless steel is nice, and of course it keeps everything from its corrosion resistance, but we have to remember that is just that, it's corrosion resistance. There's no such thing as corrosion proof steel. Nickel's been around a long time, and it has a lot of the same properties except two things. One is it scratches really easy, so you want to be real careful about never rubbing anything against your nickel plated pistol. And the other thing is that it will mark real easy. So if you particularly had say your hands were real sweaty and you were gripping it, it could kind of blacken the finish a little bit. It's just going to be cosmetic, but of course you bought this pistol because it looks so cool, so why not keep it looking cool? There's be no reason not to. But let's talk about a little bit, how do you care for this thing? First of all, you can tell it's not horribly dirty, but just put a few rounds through it, a couple of boxes. Function flawlessly, by the way. No jams, no nothing. But it is a little dirty. And let's take a look at this barrel. Kind of pretty much see my thumbprint right there. So how do we best get this thing looking good? All right, am I going to break out the polisher like Flitz and get it all shiny and stuff? No, I'm not going to do that because, like I said, this thing can scratch really, really easy. So we're going to talk a little bit about what is the best things for it. First of all, you probably want to avoid any kind of ammonia-based type cleaners, just because it can rub off on it. Obviously, the barrel is not nickel; it's steel, so it's a different finish. So if you were to use hops or something on it, that's fine. But you would want to be real careful about using any kind of solvent on your nickel finish. And once again, that's why I use. Let's go ahead and clean this, and we'll talk a little bit about it. I'm not going to sit here and show you me cleaning this. Just know that instead of using like a solvent for this, I'm going to go ahead and use Balisol for everything. Okay, for both the cleaning and the lubing. But before you do that, that's where the microfiber cloth comes in. You want to make sure that they are new or washed.
Okay, so I'm going to take my Balisol spray and kind of go ahead and work it in there. Working all the moving parts. Not a lot, just enough. So I've got a saturated patch of Balisol and a guide rod, and obviously I'm going to use it for the barrel, as well as use it to kind of help wipe down all the inside. I want to make sure that I use...
Okay, so I just cleaned this barrel, which, and like I said, once again, I just used Balisol. And you can tell that barrel is now completely clean. And it's also lubed and oiled. Like I said, Balisol works like CLP, and I just think it works better. Okay, so right now the gun is reassembled except the grips, and right now, because I really sprayed the Balisol very liberally on the gun, it's made the gun a little greasy, but that's where we get our microfiber cloth. So we're going to basically just kind of slowly wipe that down, let the gun kind of eat up that oil. Okay, so now you can see the pistol is all reassembled and it is clean. I didn't need to use any special metal polish or anything. Just the Balisol as well as the microfiber cloth seems to work. Now what about that clean, completely rag that you only use for this pistol? Well, that's where it comes in later. Anytime that you go ahead and use the pistol, all you'd have to do is take that rag and just give it a once over. That's it. I found that just your basic cotton will kind of absorb that sweat a little more if you do have sweat on your hands. But just once again, I mean, you can just tell. I mean, the pistol is polished again. It's clean, no scratches. You can't even tell it's used. There's a little oil right there from it being on here, but on this side you can just tell that, you know, it's nice, polished, high shine. I mean, you can actually see the see reflections in it. So
I have to say that this pistol really handled well, easy to control. I kind of end up liking the 38 Super Round. Wish it was a little more easy to find and easy to come by, and had a little more variety in loads from different factories, but it is what it is. And but like I said, this might be, as my wife likes to say it, a looking at towel. Well, this could be more of a looking at gun, but when I do take it out to shoot, I can tell you it's fun to shoot, and man, it's just a beauty. It's just an absolute gorgeous pistol, and I'm glad I got it. Please hit like and subscribe. This American Lawn Sale fan. God bless you and those you love.